Amazing.
And welcome to episode 223 of the most must-see award-winning show to ever hit the Bedford TV airwaves, or any airwaves for that matter. North, south, east, west, backwards, frontwards, diagonally, sideways, any which way you look at it, all around the world. The Wrestling Connection. I am your host, your connection to the wrestling world, the pontiff of the pro wrestling populace, the fedorable felon, the perfect beep Ken.
You're such a...
The perfect Ken. Mr. Ken Hill, delivering all the news to you in professional wrestling today. Alongside me, as always,
the consumer of wrestling knowledge, the prize fighter of the Wrestling Connection, the legacy of Team Kaufman, the dragon missing his gold, the multi-titled title holder, but not of the big title. I'm not salty. Dan Kaufman's here as well.
Someone get me my pretzels.
So, as I'm just saying this right now, my record, what I was gunning for, has been stolen from me. And yet, I don't even get the luxury of not being able to look at the gold because it stays in my household.
Yes, and of course, just like in life, the girlfriend gets everything. That's right. We have, for the first time in her vaunted WK career, the brand new queen of pay-per-view.
The Wonder Bird herself, Allison Mermaid-Haired Sherman.
Hey.
Come on.
Do I bring one or both?
Come on.
Well, you have to award the Big Four title.
This is true.
She won without cashing in. So
by ruling, the Big Four championship defaults
to the second place winner.
to Mr. Kaufman. And of course, well, okay, come on, show you.
Come on. Hold it
I
up.
haven't finished it.
It's fine. Hold it up for the...
I haven't finished it.
She hasn't finished it. She's decking it out with her own fabulous script. So, ooh. So hopefully
Is there anyone you'd like to thank?
What is this? The
Don't you
what is this? The
Braun
Emmys?
Strowman.
She wants to thank Braun Strowman.
Thanks, Braun.
Thank you so much, Strowman.
I so called it. I
Yeah.
was the only one.
Well, that will be getting us into the paper review of Money in the Bank 2018.
The paper what?
Review.
View.
View.
All right.
Luckily, we're not on The View.
I think we. Oh, of course.
Our out of control booth.
Our out of control room with on the switcher
On the
today.
switchboard, the wrestling technician.
That
As
no
well as
longer
the
the wrestling god.
god.
Now he's the wrestling technician, James.
How you doing, James?
Hello, it's the wrestling god.
The wrestling god.
No, today you're the wrestling technician.
Well, to be fair, he
right.
is the man behind the scenes.
Man behind the scenes.
Wrestling god
and,
still works.
And of course, Mr. 8-Ball himself, even though he hasn't had the 8-Ball for about a year now, Mr. Nick Giglio.
Well, if he's like a cartoon with Mickey Mouse, he can be hiding it anywhere. The infinite pocket theory.
You never know. Oh, and we got a little bit of an echo.
We are that mighty.
And the mighty do not kneel. All right, well, in my case, you got a championship, so you don't kneel. Okay. So anyway, today is the today, of course, like I said, is the Money in the Bank pay-per-review. View infinitum.
However, a few newsworthy segments did happen, so we will start off with our segment of Hill's Highs and Dan's Downers.
Of course, my high being one of my vaunted favorites and one of yours. Apparently, the Bulgarian Rhapsody paid off. It did, because this man won a gauntlet match on SmackDown this past Tuesday to qualify as the next number one contender to challenge AJ Styles for the WWE title. The Lion of Bulgaria, number one in Bulgaria, number one in our hearts.
Mr. Machka Man himself.
Machka Man! Well, that'd be me. Rusev! That's right. Rusev is the number one contender. He will be challenging AJ Styles in Rusev's first ever one-on-one World Championship opportunity.
Imagine if he won.
I mean, I know it seems like he's kind of like the flavor of the month here for AJ Styles after Styles kind of like finally dispatched Shinsuke. More on that. Sorry, 5 days later. Spoilers. All right, but AJ's moving on to new opposition. Rusev seems to be stepping up the plate, but with SummerSlam approaching, you kind of get the feeling Rusev's kind of more bump on the road than a available challenger.
Along with the spoilers, it has been said that one of the reasons why AJ won is because they wanted to make sure he was champion when they announced that he was the cover of WWE 2K19.
Yeah, there you go. But anyway, it's summertime in Bulgaria for Rusev. So you know what? Enjoy it while you can.
Exactly.
It's the 1 month. It's the 1 month. It's the summer of Rusev. It's summertime in Bulgaria. All right, so that's my big high right there.
While the highs are awesome, the downs are pretty down. So we'll start with the not as tragic, but still sad because you don't like seeing anyone losing their job. Big Cass is no longer employed with the WWE.
Yes, after his anticlimactic loss to Bryan for the second straight pay-per-view, tapping out again to the same move. Well, actually,
no. First was the S-Lock, and the second one was the heel hook.
But basically, yeah, he tapped out twice.
Oh, yeah. Tapped out twice.
Yeah, very undignified way to go.
Yeah, and apparently, according to certain things that he did, which when he went into business for himself, thinking he could get himself over, and it was against management approval.
Well, to elaborate, we could talk about this. He didn't kill anyone.
No, he didn't kill anyone.
He
attacked him. He attacked a little person.
Yeah, I think we actually elaborate. I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago. Cass had a segment where he brought out a Daniel Bryan lookalike, a Daniel Bryan little person. I think little person. I think that's the
little person.
That's the PG. That's the PC term we can use.
We're being stars here, people.
Be a star. All right, so he brought out a little person resembling Daniel Bryan. He was only supposed to get basically
one big boot,
denigrate Daniel Bryan, and then give him one big boot. He asked Vince and creative beforehand, okay, can I just throw in a few punches for a little extra zip? And they both said no, just the big boot. What does Cass do? Hits the big boot, then hits a few rabbit punches on this guy, on the little guy, and apparently everyone was like up in arms about it because Cass went too far. Yep. You notice if you watch the official video on WWE's YouTube channel, it cuts off right before Cass delivers the extra punches. So that tells you right there. And you also have to consider just how upset Vince was with Cass, that instead of getting, we wish you the best in your future endeavors, like he literally just...
He got the same axe that Enzo got.
Basically, yeah. He dismissed him completely out of hand. He just... Yeah. You're like, okay... SmackDown meeting comes up. Oh, by the way, Cass is gone.
Yeah,
that's it.
I mean, there was a few other things. Apparently he wasn't exactly sporting during the European tour.
Yeah, drunken and disorderly behavior during the European tour.
Apparently, he brushed off a rehearsal promo thing with Kevin Dunn, which hits Kevin Dunn, who answers straight to Vince.
So yeah, that wasn't a smart move. So I mean, here's the thing. This reminds me of one little incident. I'm not gonna go off on a tangent here, but basically it kind of reminds me a little bit of Triple H's curtain call. Basically, in that sense, in that context, it broke kayfabe, it caused ratings to drop, And because at the time, I mean, this involved Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, all commiserating, all hugging it out in the middle of the ring in Madison Square Garden, and someone happened to catch this on video, and essentially, it again, like I said, it broke kayfabe. It broke that veil that wrestling always had up to that point, and it caused ratings decline because Nash and Hall were on their way to WCW, and I mean, here's the thing. Vince couldn't punish Michaels for this because he was literally at the top. He was he's the centerpiece for WWE.
And Nash and Hall were leaving, so they couldn't get punished.
So Triple H had to suffer the brunt, having to job out for a number of months.
To be fair, if it weren't for that, he lost his King of the Ring championship. Instead, it went to Austin, and that was one of the things that launched Austin.
Exactly. And the other thing was, I mean, here's the thing. Vince was already high on Triple H before this whole went down. Yeah. So that's probably why he only got what really in the long run amounted to a slap on the wrist, like 5-6 months of jobbing out to other stars, other wrestlers. I mean, with Cass, he didn't go out of his way to endear himself to Vince beforehand. He had a bad attitude coming back from injury. He had a bad attitude when he came backstage and how he interacted with coworkers, and it's like you said, like management with Kevin Dunn and Vince himself. So honestly, I'm not all that surprised Cass got let go.
Me neither. I'm surprised when you hear about the public drunkenness thing, and that just immediately says that the company doesn't take care of things.
And here's the thing: people are going to say, "Well, okay, wrestlers used to drink all the time on tour back in the day." But again, this and like Angle pointed out, like last year, this is a different environment. Okay, it's not the same. Okay, you have a company that's under a lot more scrutiny than it was back in the day when wrestlers could just travel all around the world and be pretty much wrestled drunk half the time. You can't do that.
Shawn Michaels proved it.
Yeah, Shawn Michaels proved it. He went from being like this crazed, drugged up loon during the '90s. Had to go and find himself. Had to become born again and come back, and he was a completely different person.
Yeah,
because he knew he was going to have to change with the times. Otherwise, he was going to be right out of there again.
Wish Cass the best. Maybe he'll actually reunite with Enzo if the money's right. If the money's right. I know they're not exactly buddies.
Yeah, they're not exactly bosom buddies at the moment, so I wouldn't count on that right now. All right, so
let's go back to the high.
Well, yeah. So I mean, kind of a downer right here. This one's a serious one.
Yeah.
We found out this past week that basically one of the best big men in the business, all time. Passed away. We are talking about Big Van Vader. Basically, passed away this week. He'd been fighting.
He was fighting. If I remember, I think he was fighting pneumonia. They figured that they thought he was getting better.
And he was clinically he was getting better, but then it just
he's also been fighting heart issues.
Basically, his body just gave out.
Yeah.
So. We found out from his son via their Twitter feed. I just everyone here at the Wrestling Connection wants to send out their best wishes to Vader's family and friends. I'm just saying, he was one of the best, most versatile big guys you could ever find. I mean,
absolutely.
You never found too many 400-pounders super heavyweights who could do moonsaults off the top. Like, I mean, in his prime, he was one of the most versatile big guys I'd ever seen.
Not to mention, he was one of the most diehard wrestlers. When interviewers went to him and called it fake, you do not go to Vader and tell him that wrestling is fake.
Because he'll just slap you outside the head and a few times and tell you, did that feel fake? Exactly. He'll put you in his place, and he's not afraid to do that.
And even within recent years, he hasn't really left the limelight. I mean, he had interesting things to say about the Will Ospreay Ricochet match, and that even led to a feud with Will Ospreay, considered one of the best in the world. Period. Vader was in the limelight well into his later years, and you can't keep doing that, and that's impressive.
So I mean. So Vader will be missed.
Yeah.
All right. So.
Enough of that.
But as the old saying goes, one cannot grieve forever. So let's move on. Let's move on to the Money in the Bank pay-per-review.
Yes.
All right, we'll start with the kickoff match, which was the SmackDown Tag Team Championship. The Bludgeon Brothers defending against the Good Brothers, Anderson and Gallows. This one pretty much cut to the quick right here. There was no contest here, but I mean,
It would have been nice, but honestly, once it was said it was to the kickoff, it's like
once the fire went. Basically, once the aggression went out for the Good Brothers, Bludgeon Brothers took over and pretty much dispatched them without much effort, including the follow-up match on SmackDown. So basically, as we pretty much all figured, Good Brothers, flavor of the month right here. A good aggressive opponent for the Bludgeon Brothers, but end of the day, Harper and Rowan, just too much for the
they are looking for bigger and badder teams to really take on.
Basically, too much for the two Sweet Boys.
Yeah.
And with Sandy's pending arrival this past Tuesday on SmackDown,
That'll be interesting.
that will be a very interesting matchup when they eventually run up against the Bludgeon Brothers.
Absolutely.
All right, so moving on to the main show.
The first match was Daniel Bryan versus Big Cass.
Daniel
which
Bryan
we
versus
actually
Big Cass.
just did discuss.
We did discuss this while we discussed Cass's release. Bryan did defeat Cass via heel hook. Now the thing was, and I've read all the reviews on this, WWE officials were actually high on Cass for this match. They actually
Cass did way better than a lot of people would have
they
given him
actually
credit for.
thought he was a lot more comfortable in his role as basically a slugger, basically just slugging away at Bryan, not worrying about any seriously. He didn't try to out wrestle Bryan like he said he would. Basically, I mean, he even used power moves like a torture rack, which is a perfect move for someone like.
Yeah,
Cass.
when you have a size advantage like that, a torture rack is a great move. Not to mention the avalanche fall away slam, which was really nice.
Which was a nice spot. But eventually, Ryan just proved too resilient for Cass to put away, even after his the fact that Bryan kicked out of the Big Boot, which basically put everyone away that Cass has run up against, should tell you right there the fact that something was up here.
Yeah.
The fact that you think, Cass is gonna get the win here. Nope, kick out. So Bryan gets the win right here. He moves on now. I mean, the interesting aftermath for Bryan right here is that Bryan found himself part of that gauntlet match we talked about Rusev winning. Now,
I will say this. Ever since Dan Bryan's come back, he's had a real thing for getting his chest bright red.
Oh, yeah. He's looked more like a raw piece of meat than anything else.
Oh, yeah. Big E first, then Joe second.
Ironic considering he's a vegan.
Fair point.
All right, so basically, Bryan found himself in the gauntlet match this past Tuesday, trying to get back to the WWE Championship picture. He managed to overwhelm Big E. He managed to surprise Samoa Joe with a very impressive count-out
Oh,
win.
I really liked that. That was really good.
All right, and then it seemed like that he was ready to face Miz, only for the Bludgeon Brothers to come out, because apparently Bryan had a little encounter with them coming out to start the gauntlet match. He had a little brush off, and apparently Bludgeon Brothers took offense to that. Came out, laid out Bryan with the bludgeon bomb. Suddenly, here comes Miz, and sneaky heel tactics. Hits him with a skull crushing finale and just dispatches Bryan just like that.
Yep.
So apparently, they may very well be going to the Daniel Bryan Miz feud right here.
They could, or they could have him going up against the Bludgeon Brothers and they'll need a partner.
And that partner could be Miz.
I actually heard that. That is a scary thought if they actually do that.
That'd be even scarier if they actually won the tag team titles.
It's not the first time that's happened. Was it like Triple H and Stone Cold or something like that?
Triple H and Stone Cold, Cena and Miz. I mean, Cena and Batista.
Oh, jeez.
Oddball partners. So
Oddball partners.
I wouldn't be surprised. All right. So anyway, Bryan obviously has a lot on his mind going into Extreme Rules. All right. So moving on to the next match, which I believe
Was that the Intercontinental title match?
I think it was. It was the Intercontinental Championship match. Seth Rollins defending against Elias. Now, this Now, this wasn't the barn burner, the full-on barn burner I think we were expecting, but it was a very good match nonetheless.
It was.
Elias was very aggressive.
Yeah, Elias had like a few spots where he was just running rampant.
I mean, there were a couple of times like it was confusing. Like, was he going after the leg or was he going after the neck? What was he really trying to do here? But regardless of that, Elias, I think this is a hallmark moment for Elias right here. He really proved that he could belong in a big match scenario right here and look good doing it.
The story coming out of this match was the fact that Seth had to actually grab the tights in order to steal a victory away.
Essentially, yeah. I mean, Elias was proving very resilient. Rollins couldn't seemingly put Elias away, so he resorted to some of his old tactics. Commentary built it up as the fact that, hey, if Elias is going to pull these kind of tricks, okay, Rollins is going to do the same thing. I mean, Rollins he's not unfamiliar when it comes to using underhanded tactics.
Very true, along with his blonde highlighted persona here.
Yeah, and his back then it used to be like really dented up briefcase. But,
Oh yeah.
But yeah. So, but the real shocker coming out of this wasn't so much the match itself, but the aftermath on Raw, where Rollins reinstated his open challenge.
A little too cocky for his own good there.
A little too cocky for his own good, and it cost him because then you had Dolph Ziggler, a former 5-time Intercontinental Champion himself, coming out, accepting the challenge, backed up by, of course, Drew McIntyre. The match was it was another great back and forth exchange right here. Really hot match going. And then it seemed like as Rollins was closing in on the win, Drew runs a little interference. There's a little miscommunication between Dolph and Drew. Rollins tries the same trick as before, trying to roll up Ziggler with the tights, only for Ziggler to reverse it, sink it in, grab a big handful of tights,
and make his quota for the year.
And win his one championship for the year. Dolph Ziggler now a 6-time Intercontinental Champion, and now Rollins kind of now on the outside looking in, so to speak.
That leaves him with one of two options. He has his rematch next week, so he could win it back, or should he fail, that'll leave him open for a certain 5-person match at Extreme Rules.
Exactly. We found out this past week on Raw that that Kurt Angle made a 5-person match for a 5-person Extreme Rules match to determine the number 1 contender to Brock Lesnar's Universal Championship. Oh, gee, I wonder where we've seen that before. Could it be? Oh, yeah, it was last year at Extreme Rules.
That was when it was Samoa Joe, I believe, who won.
Oh, good grief! They're recycling them. They're recycling matches now, and not even from the big pay-per-views.
Hey, at least it was a good match last year, so hopefully it'll be a good match this year, just barring Roman.
If they're doing this if they do this the year after, hopefully that Lesnar's not holding the championship anymore. Like if they have this as a traditional thing, fatal 5-way Extreme Rules match, then that would be fine. Yeah. That would be fine. But here it just kind of feels like they're recycling, just because you still have Lesnar as champion.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right. So anyway,
we actually did miss a match because this actually happened after Bobby Lashley versus Sami Zayn.
And Lashley basically steamrolled Zayn to really no one's shock.
Yeah, apparently this match was just to write Sami off because he is now going to be out until probably WrestleMania next year.
Yep, he apparently has several injuries that he's been nursing. He was sent down to Birmingham, which is never a good sign if you're a WWE superstar.
Yeah. So
basically, he's going to be out for a long time, possibly including next year's WrestleMania. So, sorry, Sammy, you just weren't insane enough.
Yeah, there's not much to say about this match. I locked this match. That's how I got it. But
yeah, Lashley, he just steamrolled Sammy.
Yeah. And now, all of a sudden, it seems like she's trying to pit him as a cocky face against Roman for the 5-way match.
Yeah, a cocky turd. Bath. And I could say that because I'm pronouncing it the same way Lashley did.
All right.
Bath turd.
So,
all right.
There really was not much to say about this match. 3 standing verticals. Sammy's done.
That's it. All right, so I believe that brings us to the women's Money in the Bank, if I'm not mistaken.
Or was it Carmella versus?
Actually,
Asuka?
Carmella versus Asuka for the SmackDown Women's Championship. You got that on there? Carmella versus Asuka. Thank you. All right, so now here's the thing, Carmella. I mean, besides the one shocker was the fact people have been talking about is the fact that Carmella, the trio of her, Enzo, and Cass, is the
She's
only
the
one.
last
Is
one
the only
standing.
one left employed by WWE. Now, I mean, if people came to me about this last year and asked, I would have said, yeah, I'm shocked that she's still around, considering that Enzo and Cass were just coming off being a hot tag team act, and she was kind of floundering on SmackDown. Now, I'm not so surprised. I mean,
She's been doing pretty damn well.
she's made efforts to improve herself. I mean, with varying degrees of success in the ring, on the mic, and of course backstage.
Like, I'll say, the Code of Silence is a very nice looking finisher.
I mean, she hasn't even used it all that much.
I know.
She's been,
I wish she did.
I mean, she's been kind of like working. I think she's expanding her moveset. I mean, we've seen more of a technical side of Carmella in her matches, including this one here with Asuka, which I like. Okay, she's improving.
She's improving.
Bit by bit. It's a work in progress.
I wish she would have had more time with not as high a tier of female competitors.
I think that was the other point right here. Is that okay? I mean, you could have put anyone here. You could put Naomi here. You could have put Becky, who hasn't been doing anything on SmackDown. You really could have put anyone else here. Instead, they seem to just go straight to Asuka. I think they were trying to give Carmella's championship kind of like an insta shot of credibility. But on the flip side, though, that weakens Asuka's position standing.
It does.
On the roster.
I mean, I know they wanted to have her cheat by having another.
Having the return of Cincinnati's own James Ellsworth,
the intergender champion,
the chinless wonder, James Ellsworth. All right, we almost called it a couple.
Oh yeah,
we thought oh, there's no way he's boom, okay, there's Ellsworth.
I wish I thought of that more, because at that point I was like, well, then Carmella should win if James Ellsworth.
And honestly, Ellsworth
cool
probably
way
should have kept
to,
the Oscar mask on, because that's the only time he ever has anything resembling a chin.
Oh dear.
Was a kind of cool way to reveal him, though.
Yeah, absolutely
it
was.
was.
I agree on that.
I mean,
the way I would have had it was I would have had Asuka. I would have had Asuka have the Asuka lock on Carmella, and then when Carmella taps, the ref's not there because a certain person in an Asuka mask
Do the Oscar mash. It's the Oscar mash.
Would have had James pull out the ref while still in the Asuka gear. I think that would have worked better. Then you could have had the prolonged Asuka staring
because
down.
instead, you just had the prolonged Asuka stare, which just made Asuka look, okay, for lack of a better word, stupid.
Yeah, it's like
it made her look stupid just standing there.
If she stood there for like 45 seconds total,
and then here came a super kick that barely. Oh yeah, the vaunted super kick that barely grazed her. And
hey, if you watched NXT, apparently that's a thing that can happen to you.
Yeah,
Alistair.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah, apparently the wind from it can can bowl you right over.
I watched Dragon Ball Z. I know what I'm talking about.
Did you pick for the match?
I picked Asuka.
I picked
Asuka. Everybody picked Asuka.
I picked
I
Asuka.
have proof that Dan is a traitor.
What?
Why? He's posing with Ellsworth.
I posed.
Let's see if I can.
No. Well, hold on. You have to hold up to the camera, otherwise.
Yeah, no. I want to get it nice and bright. Let's see.
Oh my! Traitor! He knew.
We'll pop it on the website.
To be fair,
To
be fair, a certain other person who also chose Asuka and locked her in posed with Ellsworth before me.
No, I didn't. I didn't actually get it posed with him.
Whatever. I got the picture. I got the shirt for you, so you can't get mad at me for
Yeah,
that.
we stole it off the edge of the stage.
We actually did, and then this little girl is like, "Can I see it?" It's like, "Sure." Takes it, and then she throws it to the guys there, and he's like, "No." And then we went to James, and he just gave it back to us. So there you go.
For $20.
Nice.
But, he wanted to feed his kids.
Don't tell them that.
He's got kids.
Oh, the next tag team.
They've got Ellsworth and Slater.
Heathworth.
They've got kids.
Man.
Kids.
I'm sorry. Have Bobby Lashley be their manager. Look at Heathworth. All right. We're getting off way too much.
Okay. Let's go.
Asuka, James Ellsworth, cost Asuka, and with that, let's go to
The women's
Money in the Bank, and then after that, we'll talk about Roman gender.
Right. Okay. So So we come to women's Money in the Bank. Here's the thing. I like this match.
I
really
too.
did. They let the women cut loose here. They let them do the same kind of spots that the men usually do in ladder matches. I mean, we saw a lot of. I mean, okay, we saw Naomi and
Ember. They were going
pulling
on.
off some great athletic feats. I mean, everyone had a role. Everyone had a role to play here.
Lana Machkad.
Lana Machkad up right there. Showed she could do the accolade just as well as her Bulgarian hubby. All right. So yeah, everyone had a role here to play. Now here's the thing: we all pretty much thought that it was either going to be Natalya or Sasha coming out here. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, exception of a couple others. I mean, no one picked
one person picked Alexa Bliss.
who won the match. She won. No one saw it coming. We all thought she had been written out of the feud after losing to Nia two straight times, and suddenly boom, she's right back in the picture. With
To be fair, the reason why we thought Natalya would win was the actual result that happened later. It
Right.
was just not with Natalya.
it just wasn't the person we were expecting. So basically, it went down the same way. And actually, you know what? Let's go right to that match. Let's go right to that match. We're talking about the Raw Women's Championship.
Apparently, it was supposed to be the main event.
It was supposed to be the main event.
So we did call that technically, in its own way.
In a strict, not in a kind of loose sense.
Yeah.
All right. So it was Ronda challenging Nia for the Raw Women's Championship, and it was a very aggressive match.
Oh, I enjoyed this match
There was no
tremendously.
lockups here. There was no rest holds. Basically, it was just the two women just slugging it out and throwing each other around.
Ronda made Nia look like a monster, and that was really good.
That was really good. Okay, here's the thing: when it comes to in the ring, Ronda knows what to do. It's only out of the ring, her mannerisms, her mic skills, her promo ability that needs the work.
I find that funny because they actually did this because right after this on Raw, she comes out. She doesn't say a single word on mic. She just went postal.
Right. So as Ronda was closing in, about to cinch in the armbar, here comes Alexa, cracks Ronda over the back with the Money in the Bank briefcase, causing the disqualification, giving Ronda the win by default. But then basically tosses Ronda out, tosses over the announce table, goes back in, hits a few more shots on Nia, cashes in, hits the big DDT, followed by Twisted Bliss, and now you have Alexa as a three-time women's champion. Raw women's champion.
It's interesting. If you really look at this pay-per-view, I believe there's like 3 matches where the loser is now gone off with injury. You have Charlotte, who's going to be out till SummerSlam.
Right.
You have Nia, who's nursing something until Extreme Rules.
Right.
And you have Sammy, who is now out until Mania.
Basically, so yeah, a lot of people hitting the disabled list following this pay-per-view, unfortunately.
Well, at least, Kurt Angle's illegitimate son is due to come back anytime now.
Anytime now. And of course, in exchange for 3 top-tier talents, we get James Ellsworth back on the SmackDown roster. I'd say that was worth it.
I'm pretty sure all the ones who went on injured is actually on Raw. Nope,
Yeah.
Charlotte.
Charlotte.
Hey, he is the intergender champion. He can wrestle for Charlotte's place. James Ellsworth, the new queen of the women.
Okay, so basically, moving on
To the match that we were worried was going to be the main event. And
actually, you know what? Let's talk a little bit about that segment on Raw. Okay. We kind of glossed over a little bit. So basically, Alexa's gloating. She's crowing about
The Peter Egg match.
we'll be right back to that.
We're right back to that. All right, so basically, Alexa's crowing about winning the Raw Women's Championship. Kurt's giving her due accolades, saying that she's going to be defending against Nia at Extreme Rules next month. I mean, Alexa's cool with that. But then suddenly, here comes Ronda storming down to the ring, a fire in her eyes, like you said. Barely says
No
a word.
smiles.
No smiles. And basically,
Alexa does what Alexa does
circles
best.
around. Basically trips up Alexa, beats the crap out of her, cracks her a few times with the briefcase. I mean,
Judo throws Kurt.
judo
throws Kurt.
judo throw.
She also judo threw Nia during their match, which was very impressive. She nailed Kurt more times with the briefcase. Then the refs came out.
and then she started kicking kicking the refs.
Kicking the refs, beat up some refs.
So basically, she went Brock Lesnar on their collected behinds.
And then she picked up a ragdoll Alexa in a very, very nice powerbomb position. Because you don't see a lot of people do like a side razor's edge kind of thing, which is pretty cool.
And then just dropped her
and
to
then
the table. Like a sack of potatoes. A 5-foot sack of potatoes.
So really, the momentum that she's had, she had a great match at Money in the Bank. She Brock Lesnar on Raw. She got suspended like Brock on Raw, which means that when she comes back, if she keeps this, her character's cemented perfectly.
Right. And they wanted the Stone Cold attitude for her, and guess what? You got it.
You got it.
There you go.
And,
there you go.
Very nice.
It's set in stone. Very nice.
You definitely got it.
Oh.
Yeah, that was great.
Have her win the intergender belt.
The intergender belt is an indie thing only. It is not a part of WWE. I'm sorry. They're not going to do that.
Yeah, they got the women's championships. That's enough.
Okay, we got it. So, if they bring the intergender championship that James Ellsworth created onto WWE, that will be right up her alley.
Oh, hey, it'll give Becky Lynch something to do.
Okay. Who else would challenge it as a man? Would Heath Slater be challenging against the women? Kurt Hawkins. Kurt Hawkins will keep losing.
Oh, I think Ellsworth is the one person Hawkins could feasibly have a chance against.
I disagree. All right.
Anyway,
back to that match that we are trying to avoid.
Basically, yeah, Roman. Let's just cut that quick right here. Roman versus Jinder. Basically, let's.
What were people hoping for? It would be like a 5-minute squash.
Well, let's see the chants. Okay, CM Punk, ROH, 10. Let's go Cena. Cena sucks.
Let's go Beach Ball.
End
this match. This is awful.
Yeah, basically, the whole 9 yards with a bored audience.
Johnny Wrestling.
Yeah, Johnny Wrestling.
I'm pretty sure like the
Johnny
Wrestling chants, CM Punk. Like I'm pretty sure all the chants have gone up into past 10 at this point.
So I mean, what was WWE expecting? I mean, okay, if I have to give this one positive thing, one up. God, I'm sounding like Simon.
The wheelchair bouncing brother.
No, I'm sounding like Simon from What Culture? Good grief.
Why? Here's why.
All right, if I had to give this match one positive, it wasn't a bad match. It was just a really boring one.
Yeah, well, you could say the same thing about Roman versus Joe, and it doesn't change the fact that that did not help.
Okay, yeah,
man.
the common denominator. I'll give you a hint. He's Samoan. He's got tattoos, and he's got long, greasy hair.
I was gonna say leave The Rock out of this, but now I'm stuck.
Okay. Roman's the problem.
The Rock.
Roman.
I mean, people want to say that us wrestling fans are in denial. I think you might want to. I think you want to look a little more I think you want to look a little more upward towards Vince. Vince is a man. He's a millionaire in denial. But but he's got the Fox deal. He's got everything else. So basically, who cares about Roman? I'm just gonna go rolling my money. Damn it.
I'm sorry, I'm imagining DuckTales.
Vince swimming in a pool of dollar bills.
That was.
Oh God.
Let's see. What was after that? AJ Shinsuke, I believe.
AJ. Oh my God.
We have our proof.
I knew it.
We have our proof.
I knew it.
We actually have a buddy in the out of control room, and yet this happens. We have proof. Mikhail, why have you hijacked?
I got no problem with dead air, buddy. Come on.
Okay, so we were discussing this next match, which was AJ v Shinsuke, and honestly, I would say this was by far their best match.
Which, when you look at their feud, sad to say,
it doesn't mean much, and that
doesn't mean
stinks.
much. But it was a great match. I think if you AJ versus Shinsuke.
AJ Shinsuke.
James, you got AJ versus Shinsuke? AJ versus Shinsuke.
There you go. You got it.
Be careful, otherwise we'd have to give you neat affairs.
Well,
God,
Considering the fact he's not...
I do sound like a Japanese Santino.
You really do. So that means if Santino ever comes back, he can pretend to be Shinsuke, and that's his thing.
God, Santino.
Sorry, no speak
Santino in big red latex jacket.
Sorry, no speak English.
Yeah, no kidding.
I speak Italian.
All right, so basically, I mean, the general consensus was if you cut out the first 5 minutes of this match, this would have been a perfect last man standing match.
I felt like the ref was jumping the gun with his counts. I feel he should have waited until
seriously, he was counting. He was doing a 10 count on a drop kick.
1, 2, he's up. He's up.
Okay, yeah, dude, seriously, calm down.
We should have gotten Brock Lesnar to come in and just punch him in the face once.
We should have got this ref calling the Reigns Mahal match. It would have gone quicker. All right. So
here's the thing. This ref was so into it at the beginning that he screwed up at the end and he counted 10 too quickly, and he didn't do it in Japanese.
So basically, my one criticism with this match is AJ officially supplants Sting as the stupidest man in professional wrestling. After the 24 low blows that Shinsuke delivered to him, AJ never had the sense of mind to wear a cup.
Wait, were you trying to prove a point? Were you trying to say, I don't need... In the words of Jim Ross, he has testicular fortitude.
Was he trying to say... Not anymore after 24 low blows.
Does he not need grapefruits to show that he can beat Shinsuke?
Well, he's already had 3 kids. He probably doesn't need it anymore.
That's probably what I think it is.
Yeah. Why spend
4
money?
kids.
Yeah, why spend money on a vasectomy? Just have shit. Yeah, just have
so
shit.
that's what this is all about. It turns out they weren't really mad at each other. It was just their low cost way of keeping AJ from having another kid. And then Shinsuke's like, I never wanted a kid anyway. You could do it to me too.
Oh yeah. Except AJ had a much more he went back to his football roots. Basically, he kicked between the uprights. It's good.
And then he decided to send himself over for a field goal.
Yep. Launched himself over for a phenomenal forearm. Put Shinsuke through the table. 10 count, and we're done. I mean, don't get me wrong. I thought it was a great match. It's just, I mean,
we had a high bar from outside of WWE.
Shinsuke's done. Shinsuke is done. For the foreseeable.
He's currently going after the U.S. title now
as a number 1 contender, as contending for the WWE title. Yeah, he's done.
Okay, let's look at it this way.
I mean,
when Jinder lost his WWE title, he went to become the U.S. title. Are we really saying that Shinsuke is on Jinder's level? That he has to go from the WWE to the U.S. just so he could remain credible?
I mean, here's the thing, though. Shinsuke didn't even win the WWE title.
I know.
So he's actually, from what they're saying, from what they're
Jinder's
implying,
better.
That Jinder is better. Wow.
I'm pretty sure they didn't pay Jinder what they paid Shinsuke to get in here.
Mind blown. All right.
And the problem is they're not even down on him.
So here's the thing. I mean, they're not even down on Shinsuke. They like Shinsuke.
First off, AJ, all the props to you. I know you're an avid gamer. I know this was what you wanted. I am stoked for you to have that. I wish it didn't cost Shinsuke the title.
I'm just saying, because you have to look at it like this. Shinsuke, I mean, look at the timeline. Shinsuke loses at WrestleMania. Turns heel, purportedly out of frustration, because we never really found out the reason why he turned heel in the first place. Okay? Starts resorting to the low blow more and more, basically insulting AJ, disrespecting AJ, getting under AJ's skin, playing mind games with AJ. The next 2 matches end with countouts, so there's no real resolution there. All right? Then he wins.
The stipulation.
He wins the non-title match against AJ that allows him to pick the stipulation. He picks a stipulation where he doesn't have to pin AJ. He has to keep him down for 10.
Get this. He actually wins. The only match he won against AJ is the only match that he didn't give him a low blow. The only match where he did not go for the low blow, he won. He pretended that AJ gave him a low blow to win.
Exactly. And, okay, he picks a match where he doesn't have to keep AJ down for a 3 count. He has to keep him down for a count of 10, which he proved he could do. He played mind games with AJ, which AJ admitted got under his skin, and Shinsuke lost. So after everything that Shinsuke did in his favor, AJ wins.
Lol.
Lol. And so, look, I'm happy for AJ. I'm glad he won, but I just don't feel like this was the right ending for the feud. I mean, you could have had AJ. I mean, heck, okay, if you want to go the whole Extreme Rules route, okay, have AJ rematch against have Shinsuke win. AJ rematches. Then you could have the gauntlet match to determine, okay, who's going to be a third man for a triple threat match, which would technically be a no DQ match, which falls under the whole Extreme Rules dealing.
I suppose that is a way of doing it.
You could have done that.
It just robs Rusev of a singles chance.
Yeah, but okay, it still would have been his first opportunity for world championship.
Royal Rumble.
Well, I know, but that was 30 guys. You weren't really expecting Rusev to win that, were you?
Hey, he came out number 2. If he came out number 1, he might have.
Yeah, because at the time people thought of him as number 2.
Don't get people with okay. We're going off on a tangent.
All right. So anyway, I like the match. I guess I mean,
it's fine.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I just didn't like the result.
Yeah.
I just felt like, okay, they should have really given Shinsuke the chance here. But be that as it may, all right, we move on to, I believe
it's the men's match for the final one.
The men's match. We have the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. Now, that's not funny. I mean, basically, the Queen Allison said, "Ms. Go Smoosh."
That's what I thought it said.
No, hold it in front of the camera.
Yeah, no, I'm coming over to the camera. It's not wrong.
Who needs a news feed when you got Allison?
While Miz may go smush, Kevin goes splat.
Everyone, basically everyone aside from Strowman went sploot.
Sploot.
Sploosh, splat, smoosh, smat,
Crash.
Strowman got smushed too. He just rises like a zombie.
Yeah, he was like, it's had brains.
So yeah, when Braun survived the ladders, threw Kevin off of the giant one, ran through a ladder, and you look to Miz. Miz was having garbage truck flashbacks.
Yeah, basically, let me put this in context. So basically, everyone actually listened to Kevin Owens for once, teamed up on Strowman, left him laying under a pile of ladders, and then when it seemed like all was well and good, Balor goes to pull one ladder off the pile, and here's the thing. You poked the bear, Balor. Basically, that was enough for Strowman to rise up out of his ladder grave, his metal-infused grave, and just storm through Balor, and then
Rusev, Joe, and Kevin tried to take.
Well, no, when Braun and when Rude and Balor tried to get a ladder and try to take out Strowman.
You mean when he ran through the ladder?
He ran through the ladder. He snapped it in two and bowled him over.
He twigged it.
And then you're looking at Miz like, oh my, oh
yeah.
God.
Miz is like, I only have one chance. I have to run as fast as possible up this ladder.
He has to get up that briefcase. He has to get that briefcase like his life depended on it, and it most likely did.
Yeah, his life did depend on it. His life depended on Strowman saying no.
And basically, it was all Strowman. He just dominated everyone.
The only person who showed
and by the way, Kingston. They chose Kingston instead of Big E.
Hey, Big E started walking. Xavier stopped. Xavier stepped up, tore off his shirt to reveal Kofi.
So he spent all the time basically spackling Kofi onto his chest.
Oh please! You know Big E was mocking him with batter.
Wait, was that like sparkle glue, or like was that syrup?
Yes.
Oh, good God.
The answer to all the things you said is yes.
Oh, Lord.
So, to be fair, Kofi did a lot of awesome stuff. A giant, trust fall.
Okay, it was a waste.
He piggybacked Strowman up a ladder.
It was a waste. I would have preferred Xavier being there. Okay, Xavier never got a fair shake in a ladder match. And okay.
Hey. No, don't forget. They love records. He just tied Kane for the most appearances.
Oh, whoop-de-doo. I can't believe I'm quoting Corey Graves on this. Has he ever won one?
Don't look at me. I already know the answer. I'm not just going to say it.
You.
He tied Kane, but Kane actually won one.
Yeah.
Does he have to go corporate for him to finally get something?
Oh.
No.
Kofi with a slick back dreads.
Imagine if he actually just
And
undreaded himself.
And chinos.
If he undreaded himself. Ooh. You want puffy. Poof.
All right. So anyway, long story short, Strowman won.
Strowman won. Kevin died.
Yep. And
Rude made no thing for himself.
no presents whatsoever.
Rusev went for a triple
stack-a-lade.
And dang it, Joe. Dang it.
Curse you, Joe.
Joe is the only person who actually went up against Strowman with no fear.
See, I mean, the New Day would have liked that. Rusev went for a stack-a-lade. Like a stack of pancakes.
Imagine they try and get Rusev on the New Day just because he can do the pancake stack-a-lade.
The stack-a-lade.
Oh, no.
Oh, my God.
Wait. This actually means if Rusev can get all three members of the New Day down on top of each other and he actually does it, he'll actually do the pancake stack-a-lade. It's actually plausible now.
All right.
Rusev wins tag team champions alone by beating the New Day.
All right, moving on. All right. So Strowman wins. Really, I'm fine with it because really, like we said, we basically discussed the only person who really recently on the Raw side who recently had a chance of winning Money in the Bank was Strowman. Because I mean, as long as you have Roman and Brock and like I said, doing the whole Vince's favorite son dance and basically holding the championship hostage.
Vince says that I'm his favorite. I have a memo.
Well, I have a contract and a big briefcase full of money, so I'd say I'm.
Strowman says the moment Brock shows himself, he's cashing in. Does that mean it's going to be before the SummerSlam? We're assuming it's going to be SummerSlam.
If
I mean, they did say Brock's going to miss SummerSlam. This could be how they do it. Brock's like, Brock and Paul come out saying, we saw who won the Extreme Rules, and this is what we think about. Braun immediately cashes in like, I win. So, yeah, the only people we know who are in this five-person match right now is Roman and Bobby. We're assuming...
Here's something I never considered for Money in the Bank cash-in. Mm-hmm. Why wouldn't the champion just kind of walk out and get counted out?
They could. Absolutely could. But considering the fact they're saying Braun is faster than most fast guys, I think Braun would actually chase after him and throw him back in.
I would love to see that if he could actually outrun Brock, because Brock's pretty...
They're both ridiculously fast for their size.
Like, I don't think anyone ever explained the idea of inertia to them.
Hey, I remember Seth's like, I'm a fighting champion. I'll take you on, just not tonight. Then tries to leave, and Brock's faster than Seth.
Moving on.
I saw Nick go in there to do that.
Moving on.
We technically did finish.
Moving on.
Okay, we got it.
Moving on.
Okay,
you.
awesome. All
Thank
right.
you.
That was our review.
That was our paper review of Money in the Bank. Mm-hmm. So, like we said, in a few weeks we'll be having Extreme Rules. In that time, we'll be flashing back to all the different sorts of extreme moments, not just in WWE, but maybe even in ECW. Something a certain producer would be familiar with. Father of Travioli, Mr. Greg Dolan.
Maybe.
He has a little bit of old school ECW knowledge, so
nice.
The next few weeks should be very enlightening.
All right.
So in the meantime, though, watch the Spinning Fedora and dream. Dream and dream. Okay.
Bray Wyatt is love. Bray Wyatt is life.
The connection.
Recognize.
The connection.
The correction is live.
Did you say you recognize? Oh yeah, you recognize.
So we were saying something about moving on, right?
Yeah. Anyway, all right. That's the end of our review. Like I said, stay tuned. For the next few weeks, we'll be highlighting not only the Extreme Rules pay-per-view, but all extreme moments in and out of WWE.
All hail Mikhail.
This is what happens when we try to finish up. We get boomed.
All hail Mikhail.
So.
All hail Mikhail.
For myself, the now Big Four champion, for the fedora-wearing individual to my left.
Yes. Okay.
And for the new queen of pay-per-view,
for Allison.
Allison the Wonderbird mermaid hair, and now tiara-wearing.
All right.
I guess it's tradition.
Okay.
Tradition.
It's tradition.
All right. So we will see you next week on episode 224.
Oh boy.
And remember, and for us, for Nick, for James, and for everyone here at the Wrestling Connection Bedford TV, we wish you a safe and happy weekend. And remember, as always, to be connected.
Get connected. Stay connected.
Play us out, Kermit. I've heard it too many times to ignore it. It's some things that I'm supposed to be. Someday we'll find it, the Wrestling Connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. Love